The first time Thorn Blackridge saw the dragon again, he almost dropped the torque wrench. He was elbow deep in the guts of a battered Ford pickup, rain hammering the tin roof of his shop like thrown gravel. When the bell above the door gave its half-hearted jingle, Thorn didn't look up right away. Customers could wait 30 seconds while he finished tightening the last bolt on a water pump. But the air changed. It always did when she was near. Warmer, edged with ozone and pine smoke. The scent of high-altitude storms. He knew who it was before he straightened. Vera stood just inside the threshold, water dripping from the hem of a long black coat that looked expensive and out of place in a grease-stained garage in the Cascades. 6 years had not dulled the edges of her. If anything, time had sharpened them. Scales of dark emerald and molten gold traced the line of her jaw and disappeared beneath the collar of her coat, catching the fluorescent lights like oil on water. Horns curved back from her forehead, elegant and lethal. Her eyes molten amber, ringed in crimson, fixed on him with the same unblinking intensity he remembered from the night she left. She was holding the hand of a small girl. Thorn's heart performed a complicated maneuver that felt like falling off a cliff and landing on an anvil. The girl couldn't have been more than 5.5. Black hair in wild curls, skin a warm bronze that made the gold flecks in her eyes glow like embers. Tiny horns, no longer than his thumb, poked through the curls, and wings folded tight against her back. Leathery and the color of storm clouds shot through with copper. She looked like him. The shape of the mouth, the stubborn tilt of the chin, but everything else was pure dragon. The torque wrench clattered to the concrete. Vera's lips pressed into a thin line. Thorn. His name in her mouth still sounded like a spell. He hated that it did. He found his voice somewhere under 6 years of resentment and sleepless nights. You have a hell of a lot of nerve walking in here, Vay. The girl tugged on Vera's coat. Mama. He's staring. I know, little Ember, Vera murmured, never looking away from Thorn. He's allowed. Thorn's knees felt suddenly unreliable. He grabbed the edge of the workbench. Mama? He repeated, tasting rust. That's our daughter, Vera finished. Her name is Asha. Asha waved shyly, fingers smudged with what looked like charcoal. Hi. Mama said you fix things. Do you fix wings? Mine are growing crooked. Something inside Thorn cracked wide open. He took one stumbling step forward, then another, until he was close enough to see the faint freckles across Asha's nose that were definitely his. He crouched, grease still on his hands, afraid to touch her. Hey, kid, he managed. His voice came out raw. I fix a lot of things. Wings might be new territory. Asha considered this solemnly, then reached out and poked his cheek with one sticky finger. You're crying. He hadn't even felt it start. Thorn wiped his face with the sleeve of his coveralls and left a black streak across his cheek. Yeah, sometimes grown-ups do that when they're happy. Or mad. Or both. Which one are you? He looked up at Vera then. Really looked. There were new scars along her throat, pale against the scales. Her wings, usually hidden in human form, were absent, which meant she was exhausted. Cloaking them took energy. She looked like someone who had flown a very long way carrying something heavier than herself. Both, he said again, quieter. Asha tugged free of Vera's hand and wandered toward the half-dissembled motorcycle on the lift, entranced by the chrome. Vera let her go. The shop was safe enough. Thorn had child-proofed it years ago for the neighbor's kids, back when he still pretended he might have his own someday. The silence between them stretched, thick and dangerous. You kept her from me, Thorn said finally. It wasn't a question. I kept her alive, Vera answered. There's a difference. He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 6 years, Vera. 6 years, I thought. He stopped, glanced at Asha, who was tracing the flames painted on the bike's tank with reverence, lowered his voice. I thought you just left. That what we had was disposable to you. Vera's eyes flashed, literally. The pupils narrowed to vertical slits. Dragons do not discard what is theirs. Then why? Because the klitch would have killed her. The words burst out of her like fire. She caught herself, wings flickering into existence for a heartbeat before vanishing again. Half-bloods are abominations to them. Thorn, my sister tried to smother her the night she was born. I took Asha, and I ran. I have been running ever since. Thorn felt the floor tilt under him. He sat down hard on an overturned oil drum. I thought if I stayed away, Vera continued, voice trembling now. If they never saw you with us, they'd leave you alone. Humans are beneath their notice, lest they become inconvenient. He stared at her. You think I cared about that? That I wouldn't have fought for her for both of you? You're human, she said, not unkindly. You would have died screaming. Maybe, he said. but it would have been my choice. Asha's voice piped up from across the shop. Mama, can we keep him? He smells like home. Thorn choked on another laugh that wanted to be a sob. Vera closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the fight had gone out of her. She looked ancient and very, very tired. Eclipse found us 3 days ago. I can't outrun them forever. Not with a child. Thorn stood slowly, then stopped running. She stared at him. He walked over to Asha, crouched again. Hey kid, you ever ridden on a dragon before? Asha's eyes went saucer-wide. Only Mama. She's warm, I bet. How about a human? I've got a sidecar on the old Harley outside. Wind in your hair, bugs in your teeth, the whole experience. Asha squealed and threw her arms around his neck. She was lighter than he expected, and hotter like hugging a small furnace. Her wings fluttered against his back. Over her shoulder, he met Vera's gaze. I'm not asking you to stay forever, he said quietly. I'm asking for right now. Let me meet my daughter properly. Let me help keep her safe. After that, we figure out the rest together. Vera's mouth trembled. For the first time since she walked in, she looked close to breaking. Asha pulled back, cupped his face with both hands the way only children can. Your eyes are leaking again. Yeah, Thorn whispered. Happy tears this time. Definitely happy. Outside, the rain eased into a soft drizzle. Inside the shop, under flickering fluorescent lights, and the smell of motor oil and pine smoke, a family that had been scattered for 6 years began, very carefully, to come back together. Thorn held his daughter close and let himself cry without shame, while the dragon who had once broken his heart stood guard over them both, wings half unfurled, and trembling, ready to burn the world if it tried to take them from her again. And for the first time in 6 years, the rain sounded almost like forgiveness.